Indiana football ranks second in the country at 9-0, and Vanderbilt 15th at 7-2. Two names that, for most of college football history, meant Saturday misery. Curt Cignetti in Bloomington, Clark Lea in Nashville. Two coaches who turned century-long punchlines into contenders. In an era fueled by NIL money and the transfer portal, Parody has finally arrived, and it's rewriting everything we thought we knew about who can win in college football. The Hoosiers just beat number 3 Oregon 30-20 on the road, while Vanderbilt is stacking SEC wins over LSU, South Carolina, and Missouri. These aren't Cinderella weekends. They're the result of deep investment, smart leadership, and a sport whose new rules finally reward programs willing to evolve. Because for most of their lives, these schools were synonymous with losing, the free win on the schedule. Now, they're nationally ranked, heavily funded, and keeping the coaches who made it happen. And this rise didn't come from nowhere. It came from decades of frustration, cultural overhaul, and a perfect storm of change that's reshaped the very balance of power in college football. The weight of history. To understand how far they've come, you have to look at what they were. Indiana Hoosiers football, 127 seasons since 1899. Only 28 winning seasons. That's just 22% of their history. Since 1948, they've had only 14 winning years, a 75-year stretch defined mostly by losing. And with over 715 losses, Indiana owns the unenviable title of most losses in college football history. Even their bright moments never lasted. A Rose Bowl in 1967 under John Pont, a brief blip of excitement in the late 80s under Bill Mallory, then the same slide. New coach, new promise, same results. By the 2000s, Indiana wasn't just irrelevant, they were invisible. Vanderbilt's story runs parallel. The Commodores are one of the founding SEC members, yet for decades they were outsiders at their own party. Since 1960, just 9 winning seasons. They've never been ranked in a preseason AP poll. They've never finished the season ranked higher than the low 20s. From 1983 to 2023, they managed 2 bowl victories. In a league built on swagger and tradition, Vanderbilt was the comic relief, the polite nerd among gladiators. Every coach since the 70s promised change. George McIntyre, Jerry DiNardo, Bobby Johnson, Derek Mason. Each won some moral victories, then fell to the same ceiling. Fan interest eroded. Stadium attendance often dipped below 25,000, the smallest in the SEC. For both programs, losing wasn't just an outcome. It became part of their identity. The era of possibility, NIL, the portal, and the money shift. Then college football changed, and for once, the underdogs were ready. The transfer portal removed the gatekeeping. Players could move freely, schools could rebuild rosters in months, not years. The NIL era transformed booster enthusiasm into tangible recruiting power. For the first time, commitment wasn't limited to tradition or geography. It was about investment and opportunity. Indiana and Vanderbilt seized that moment. In Nashville, Vanderbilt launched the Vander United Initiative, a $300 million facilities overhaul that redefined how the school viewed athletics. It built new locker rooms, modernized stadium infrastructure, and established NIL groups like Anchor Impact and Doors United. For the first time in decades, football wasn't the afterthought. It was the investment. Meanwhile, in Bloomington, Indiana's administration finally matched its basketball school resources with football ambition. They built the Hoosiers Collective, unified donors, and pushed a facilities expansion plan designed to mirror what Cignetti had built at James Madison. The effect? Retention. For decades, when a coach succeeded at Indiana or Vanderbilt, he was gone in 2 years. Now, NIL and infrastructure mean they can stay. In October 2025, Indiana extended Curt Cignetti on an 8-year, $90 million plus contract, a statement that the Hoosiers intend to keep their architect. Clark Lea, backed by his alma mater and long-term vision, turned away from higher-profile inquiries because Vanderbilt matched his resources and patience. It's simple economics. Money and belief create parity. But tools alone don't win games. coaching does. Indiana, from the cellar to contender. When Indiana hired Curt Cignetti, the national reaction was mild. A 63-year-old coach from James Madison didn't sound like a revolution. But Cignetti wasn't chasing headlines. He was chasing efficiency. His resume? Wide receivers coach under Nick Saban at Alabama, 2007 to 2010. Turned Elon and James Madison into serial winners. Record at JMU, 52-9. He preaches precision, clean football, minimal penalties, relentless preparation. In 2024, Indiana went 11-2, earning his first college football playoff berth. Fans called it a miracle. Cignetti called it progress. In 2025, they've been even better. 9-0, ranked number 2, and owners of the season's signature upset. A 30-20 win at number 3 Oregon in Eugene, breaking the Ducks' 26-game home streak. Indiana controlled time of possession, held Oregon under 90 rushing yards, and played a brand of football that looked more Big Ten East than anything in Bloomington history. Cignetti rebuilt from the inside out. Offensive line first, defense second. His 2025 defense ranks top 5 nationally in sacks, top 10 in red zone stops. Quarterback Tyler Hughes, a transfer from Wake Forest, isn't flashy. He's efficient. 68% completion, 20 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Linebacker C.J. Good, a JMU transplant, leads the Big Ten in tackles. What separates Indiana isn't just execution, it's buy-in. Players talk about discipline, about meetings that start on time and practices that end on lessons. Cignetti's mantra, do your job and do it better than the man across from you. When LSU, Florida, and Penn State rumors swirled in October, Indiana moved fast. They locked him up through 2033, making him one of the 10 highest paid coaches in the country. The message? Indiana's tired of being a stepping stone. The results off the field are visible. Memorial Stadium now averages 53,000 plus, its highest since 1991. Student applications mention football atmosphere. Bloomington is a football town, words nobody thought would ever fit together. Indiana's transformation isn't an accident. It's a case study in what leadership and modern tools can do when belief replaces doubt. Vanderbilt, the alma mater revolution. Clark Lea knows Vanderbilt better than anyone. He walked its halls as a student athlete, graduated in 2005, and built a resume that screamed future head coach. By 2020, as Notre Dame's defensive coordinator, he had offers. Instead, he chose the hardest path, returning home to fix the program everyone else ignored. His first 3 seasons, combined record of only 9 wins to 27 losses. Then came the turnaround in 2024. Painful, predictable, but methodical. Lee didn't chase quick wins. He rebuilt habits. Then came the funding. Vandy United's $300 million project reshaped the program's infrastructure, upgraded locker rooms, an indoor facility, NIL alignment with Anchor Impact. The turning point arrived in 2024. Vanderbilt finished 7-6 and won the Birmingham Bowl. But the season hinged on one night, October 5th, 2024. Vanderbilt 40, number 1 Alabama 35. Their first victory over a number 1 team, first over Alabama since 1984. Students stormed the field, one goalpost floated down the Cumberland River. For the first time, Vanderbilt football felt alive. That wasn't luck, it was design. Quarterback Diego Pavia, a gritty transfer from New Mexico State, brought swagger. Tight end Eli Stowers and linebacker Langston Patterson embodied Lee's mantra: tough, smart, resilient. In 2025, Vanderbilt sits 7-2, number 15 in the polls. They've beaten LSU, Missouri, and dismantled South Carolina. Their offense averages 31 points a game, and they lead the SEC in time of possession. And crucially, their penalties are down 40% from Lea's first season. Vanderbilt is now a program built to sustain. Recruits choose it because it offers big school competition with big city branding. In Nashville, one of the fastest growing media markets in America. Lea's buy-in is complete. He's turned down overtures from Michigan State and Washington because Vanderbilt finally matches his ambition. In his words, this place has everything I love: the challenge, the city, the people. I want to prove it can be done here. For a school once allergic to football success, the Commodores are suddenly a blueprint for how to modernize without losing identity. The broader lesson: parity is real. This is bigger than two programs. It's a signal that college football's hierarchy is cracking. For decades, the same 15 schools owned every playoff berth. Now, the sport's new era, NIL deals, open transfers, and mega TV contracts, has democratized success. Schools that invest wisely and hire right can leapfrog tradition. Indiana and Vanderbilt didn't cheat the system. They used it. They leveraged NIL to keep stars home. They mined the portal for undervalued experience. They built cultures that outdeveloped the Blue Bloods. The numbers prove it. In 2022, 65% of Power 5 starters were homegrown. In 2025, fewer than 45% are. Parity through mobility. Indiana and Vanderbilt rank top 10 nationally in transfer starts, not just recruiting stars. And both show that retention of leadership is the final piece. Programs like Cincinnati or Minnesota flashed once, then lost their coach. Indiana and Vanderbilt paid theirs, empowered theirs, and now reap the stability. This is what the new college football looks like: fluid, competitive, wide open. The Blue Bloods still have resources, but no monopoly on excellence. Conclusion: hope for the hopeless. Indiana and Vanderbilt share more than underdog DNA. They share proof that belief, investment, and modern strategy can erase history. Indiana, once the losingest program in the nation, is now a playoff contender. Vanderbilt, long the SEC's running joke, has an Alabama win and a national ranking. And both coaches, Curt Cignetti and Clark Lea, turned down bigger jobs because their schools finally gave them something better than prestige: commitment. Their stories redefine what's possible, because if these two can rise, anyone can. In 2025, parity isn't a buzzword, it's happening. College football's old order is cracking, replaced by something more competitive, more human, more hopeful. The idea that some schools just can't win, gone. Now, with the right leadership and the right alignment, everybody can. That's the new reality. And that's why the stories of Indiana and Vanderbilt aren't just surprises, they're signs of the sport's future.